Welcome back. We are just going to go ahead and get to it because chapter 7 has 25 verses, 8 has 35 verses, and 9 has 57 verses. So let's get to it, okay? Judges chapter 7, Gideon's valiant 300. Then Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and all of the people who were with him rose early and encamped beside the well of Herod, so that the camp of the Midianites was on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh, the valley. And the Lord said to Gideon, "The people who are with you are too many for me to give to the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel claim glory for itself against me, saying, 'My own has saved me.'" So, yeah, this is Gideon. Now, therefore, proclaim in the hearing of the people, saying, "Whoever is fearful and afraid, let him turn and depart at once from Mount Gilead." And 22,000 people returned, and 10,000 remained. But the Lord said to Gideon, "The people are still too many. Bring them down to the water, and I will test them for you there. Then it will be that of whom I say to you, 'This one will go with you,' that's the same shall go with you, and whomever I say to you." Well, isn't that confusing? Then it will be that of whom I say to you, "This one shall." Okay, so Lord's handpicking people, okay? "This one shall not go with you, and the same shall not go." So he brought the people down to the water, and the Lord said to Gideon, "Everyone who laps from the water with his tongue, as you dog laps, you shall set apart by himself. Likewise, everyone who gets down on his knees to drink." And the number of those who lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, was 300 men. But all the rest of the people got down on their knees to drink water. The Lord said to Gideon, "By the 300 men who I lapped, I will save you." So those 300 men did not get down and look, like they were very aware. So they just kind of bent down and brought the water up, I believe, because you're supposed to be kind of aware of your surroundings is what I think that's how God tested us. Like, this is how does your brain work? Are you actually going to protect yourself while you're drinking? Um, anyways. The Lord said to Gideon, "By the 300 men who lapped, I will save you and deliver the Midianites in your hand. Let the other people go, every man to his place." So everybody else who didn't do it right. So the people took provisions and their trumpets in their hands, and he sent away all the rest of Israel, every man to his tent, and retained those 300 men. Now the camp of Midian was below him in the valley. It happened on the same night that the Lord said to him, "Arise, go down against the camp, for I have delivered it into your hands. And if you are afraid to go down to the camp with Purah, your servant, and you shall hear what they say. And afterwards your hand shall be strengthened to go down against the camp." Then he went down with Purah, his servant, to the outposts of the armed men who were in the camp. Now the Midianites and the Amalekites, all the people of the east, were lying in the valley as numerous as locusts, and their camels were without number as the sand by the seashore in multitude. Ooh. And when Gideon had come, there was a man telling a dream to his companion. He said, "I have had a dream. To my surprise, a loaf of barley bread tumbled into the camp of the Midian. It came to the tent, and it struck it so that it fell and overturned, and the tent collapsed." Then his companion answered and said, "This is nothing else but the sword of Gideon, the son of Joash, a man of Israel. Into his hand God has delivered Midian and the whole camp." And so it was when Gideon heard the telling of the dream and its interpretation that he worshipped. He returned to the camp of Israel and said, "Arise, for the Lord has delivered the camp of Midian into your hand." Then he divided the 300 men into 3 companies and put a trumpet into every man's hand with empty pitchers and torches inside the pitchers. And he said to them, "Look at me and do likewise. Watch, and when I go to the edge of the camp, you shall do as I do. When I blow the trumpet, I and all who are with me, then you shall blow the trumpets on every side of the whole camp and say, 'The sword of the Lord and of Gideon.'" So Gideon and the 100 men who were with him came to the outpost of the camp at the beginning of the middle watch. just as they posted the watch, and they blew the trumpet and broke the pitchers that were in their hands. Wow. Then the three companies blew the trumpet and broke the pitchers. They held the torches in their left hands and the trumpets in their right for blowing. And they cried, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon." And every man stood in his place all around the camp, and the whole army ran and cried out and fled. When the 300 blew the trumpets, the Lord set every man's sword against his companion throughout the whole camp. And the army fled to Beth Acacia toward Zerara, as far as the border of Abel Mahala and Tebath. And the men of Israel gathered together from Naphtali, Asher, and all Manasseh and pursued the Midianites. Then Gideon sent messengers throughout all of the mountains of Ephraim, saying, "Come down against these Midianites and seize from them the watering places as far as Beth Barah and Jordan." Then all the men of Ephraim gathered together and seized the watering places as far as Beth Barah and the Jordan. And they captured two princes of the Midianites, Oreb Zeeb. They killed Oreb at the rock of Oreb, and Zeeb they killed at the winepress of Zeeb. They pursued Midian and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan. All right, chapter 8. We might just do 2 chapters because your girl has to get to work. Judges chapter 8. Now the men of Ephraim said to him, this is Gideon subdues the Midianites. "Why have you done this thing to us by not calling us when you went to fight out with the Midianites?" And they reprimanded him sharply. So he said to them, "What have I done now in comparison with you? Is it not gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim better than the vintage of Abiezer? God has delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Oreb, and Zeeb. And what was I able to do in comparison with you?" Then their anger toward him subsided when he said that. When Gideon came to the Jordan, and he and the 300 men who were with him crossed over, exhausted but still in pursuit, he, uh, then he said to the men of Succoth, "Please give your loaves of bread to the people who follow me, for they are exhausted, and I am pursuing Zebah and Zalmunna, kings of Midian." And the leader of Succoth said, Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in your hand that we should give bread to your army?" So Gideon said, "For this cause, when the Lord has delivered Zebah and Zulna, Zalmunna, goodness gracious, into my hand, then I will tear your flesh with the thorns of wilderness with with briars." Then he went up from there to Penuel and spoke to them in the same way. And the men of Penuel answered him as the men of Succoth had answered. So he also spoke to the men of Penuel, saying, "When I come back in peace, I will tear down this tower." Now Zebah and Zalmunna were at Karkor, and their armies fled with him, about 15,000. All who were left in the army of the people of the east, 120,000 men who drew a sword, had fallen. Then Gideon went up by the road of those who dwelt in the tents on the east of Nobah and Jugabigah, and he attacked the army while the camp felt secure. When Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued them, and he took the two kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and routed the whole army. Then Gideon, the son of Joash, returned from battle from the accent of Heraz. And he caught a young man of the men who Succoth and interrogated him. And he wrote down for him the leaders of Succoth and its elders, 27 men. Then he came to the men of Succoth and said, "There are Zebah and Zalmunna, and those in whom you ridiculed me, saying, 'Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in your hand, that we should give bread to your weary men?'" And he took the elders of the city and the thorns of the wilderness and the briars, and with them he taught the men of Succoth. Then he tore down the tower of Penuel and killed the men of the city. And he said to Zebah and Zalmunna, "What kind of men were they whom you killed at Tabor?" So they answered, "As you are, so were they. Each one resembled the son of a king." Then he said, "They were my brothers, the sons of my mother, and As the Lord lives, if you had let them live, I would not kill you. And he said to Jether, his firstborn, rise and kill them. But the youth would not draw his sword, for he was afraid he was still a youth. So Zebah and Zalmunna said, rise yourself and kill us, for a man is, so is his strength. So Gideon arose and killed Zebah and Zalmunna and took the crescent ornaments that were on the camels' necks. Okay. He tried to get his son to do it. His son was like, I'm too young for this. I'm chill. And then the guy's like, hey, why don't you do it since you're the one who's commanding it? Verse 22, Gideon's ephod. Then the men of Israel and said to Gideon, rule over us, both you and your son and your grandson also, for you have delivered us from the hand of Midian. But Gideon said to them, I will not rule over you, nor shall my son rule over you. The Lord shall rule over you. Then Gideon said to them, I would like to make a request of you, that each of you would give me the earrings from his plunder. For they had gold earrings because they were Ishmaelites. Ishmaelites. So they were from, are they related to Ishmael? So they answer, we will gladly give them. And they spread out a garment, and each man threw into it the earrings from the plunder. Now the weight of the gold earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold. 1,700 shekels of gold, you guys. That's, let's see here. Here's like I had it was, hold on. Thanks for being patient because I just, where was that? I need to put a, not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to do like all these. Well, it says here, it's easier to just ask ChatGPT, you know what I mean? 1,700 shekels of gold. Let's look that up. That would be equivalent to 71 pounds. So let's do 71 pounds of gold worth was what? Is what today? All right. So, oh my gosh, guys, 71 pounds of gold right now is worth $4.2 million. $4.2 million. Okay. Wild. Okay. 700 besides the crescent ornaments, pendants, and the purple rose, which were the kings of Midian, and besides the chains that were around their camels' necks. So even the camels were, the camels had ice, y'all. It's crazy. Okay, let's finish this up. We're only going to read 2 chapters today. Then Gideon made it to the ephod and set it up in a city, Ophrah, and all Israel played the harlot with it there. They be pimping themselves out when they see that gold. They're like, ooh, like they played the harlot. Every time I picture that, I picture them like just like throwing huge parties, not giving a crap, getting really drunk, like seducing everyone around them. Because harlots, they're like that. With it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and to his house. Thus Midian was subdued after the children of Israel, so that they lifted their heads no more, and the country was quiet for 40 years in the days of Gideon. But because Gideon was in charge, I guess, it was still, yeah. So, death of Gideon. The Jerubbaal, the son of Joash, went and dwelt in his own house. Gideon had 70 sons. Oh my gosh. who were his own offspring, for he had many wives. He's a pimp. And his concubine, who was in Shechem, also bore him a son, whose name he called Abi, Abimelech. Now Gideon, the son of Joash, died at a good old age, and was buried in the tomb of Joash his father and Oprah of the Abiezrites. So it was, as soon as Gideon was dead, that the children of Israel again played the harlot with the Baals. Y'all know who the Baals are? The Baal god, the god of violence and child sacrifices, and made Baal Berith their god. Oh my goodness, they're doing it again. Guys, I don't know what's going on, but there's just a lot of dots connecting in my head right now. So thus the children of Israel did not remember the Lord their God, who had delivered them from the hands of all their enemies and on every side, nor did they show kindness to the house of Jerubbaal, Gideon, in accordance with the good he had done for Israel. All right. So, yeah, let's go ahead and end there, because Gideon is dead. And the next prophet, it's crazy because Gideon says, after 7 years of Midianite oppression, Gideon defeated the Midianites with only 300 men using trumpets and jars. It's wild. Next judge will be Tola, the son of Puah, son of Dodo, from the tribe of Issachar, and he lived in Ephraim. So that's going to be in our next read. Have a great day.